Hello friends, welcome to Akulmach Live, and today we're discussing about the global tariff. There is a huge war which is brewing across the world today, specifically started by the United States of America. This was foretold by the Trump, before he actually acquired the office, and he told that he is going to increase the tariffs across the world. In fact, with regard to India, Trump said that India is a tariff king because India imposed a lot of tariff on the US products. And we know that Trump, as soon as he acquired the office, his administration actually imposed the tariff on various goods. And the tariff increase is substantial. In some cases, as high as 25% increase. You can imagine there is a $1 trillion business, which is maybe a couple of $1 trillion business which is happening across multiple countries. And this is something which is started by the Trump, and you name the country, it is Canada, Brazil, India, China, even the European countries. There has been an increase in tariff. The simple logic Trump is saying is that, look, I have to safeguard my interest. His responsibility as a president is to improve the life of the citizens of United States of America, and therefore there is no reason, especially there is so much of high inflation happening across the world, including US. So there is no reason to absorb the global inflation and not earn enough money for the country for which he has been given the mandate by the people. So I think from his point of view, it's very logical. However, so far we have not seen much of reaction happening from the Foreign Ministry of India. So this discussion is about India, and therefore, since I'm live, you can participate in this discussion. All right. So let's look at the opportunity first. Let us find out, because of this tariff war which is going on globally, are there any opportunities? I mean, we'll come to the threat later. Let's look at the positive side of it. All right. So, opportunity. The biggest opportunity for Indian businesses, Indian export houses, is that there is going to be increase in export to the United States. And the USA is, in terms of population, is the third most populous country in the world. I mean, if you look at EU is also pretty populous. Many countries are there in Europe. However, the first two countries are India and China when it comes to consumption, and the third country is US. So, consumption and production, in both the points, the US is among the top 10 countries, right? So, people like to spend money. They have deep pockets also. So, because of the tariff increase, you can expect increase in exports from India, because there are consumers sitting in US. The supply chain is going to change. We will talk about that in a bit. But there are a lot of production, low cost production, which is going to happen from India. The cost of production cannot be matched by United States, and therefore, because of this extra tariff that has been increased by the Trump administration, people will have more money, and hence, because they have deep pockets, there will be more buying happening in United States. So the clear impact is that there will be people will actually start spending, and therefore there is an opportunity for Indian business to start exporting to United States. Now, how this will happen? This will definitely happen after the dialogue. We know that this is month of February 2025. Lot of hectic parlay are going on between the Indian government and the United States government. In fact, after few days, the government of India is actually planning a visit, a very high level visit to United States, to basically look at how they can actually look at the opportunity. So I think this is going to happen very soon. Now let's look at the next opportunity that we have on the table. That is the diversification of the export market. the export market itself is going to undergo a lot of changes, simply because, as I mentioned, that diversification is going to happen because of the different supply chain. There are a lot of things happening in the world today. The cost of production is reducing, especially when it comes to India, because it was higher earlier, and therefore the Indian production houses, when it comes to export, could not match the price of the Chinese production systems. So all that is changing. There are a lot of policy planning being done by the Indian government to reduce the price of production. That means a lot of MSMEs will start getting into export business, and because of this, globally there will be a huge diversification that you will see. That means supply chain will undergo tremendous change. The supply of certain goods, the buyer in US will be able to choose whether they want to pick up from China or they want to pick up from India. So these are the two major locations, major competition that you will see, especially in 2025, emerging as the key exporters to United States, and therefore there's going to be huge diversification of supply chain. So there are big opportunity waiting to happen for the Indian production houses. And if you know, the Indian production is largely managed by MSME. I mean, 40% of the GDP is coming from the MSMEs, which are the medium and small enterprises, and they are also one of the big employer in the India. So one thing will lead to other. New supply chain, new opportunities, lot of export opportunities, lot of employment opportunities, etc. All of this is going to happen because of this tariff war. What is the third opportunity? The opportunity is boom in manufacturing. And if you are following the budget of 2025, especially right now, the budget session is going on, and very soon this budget will be implemented starting from 1st of April. So right now the discussion is going on, but if you look at the whole theme of the budget, it is basically to boost the manufacturing. There are a lot of loans being provided, collateral free loans to be provided to the businesses in India, and therefore the opportunity is straight away visible. Production has to beef up, and therefore the new supply chain needs to be created, and the new budget of 2025 is going to boost the manufacturing in India. So these are the changes which are looking at it. In fact, there are very brainy people who are sitting behind creating the budget, and obviously before we started making this video, they would have realized this opportunity because of the tariffs, and therefore they are coming out with this aggressive budget. So I think the third opportunity is boost in manufacturing. So boost in manufacturing is important because there is going to be a lot of manufacturing opportunities coming up starting from 1st of April for Indian businesses. What is the fourth opportunity? The FDI. Obviously, when there are a lot of production going to happen out of India, there are new businesses, new supply chain which are being created. The investor who's outside India would like to basically become party to this. They want to become an investor in the increased production line, increased supply chain, boost in manufacturing, and they would like to basically invest. So the increase in FDI is going to happen, and in fact this increase is expected to be many-fold, many times more than the previous years. So therefore the whole tariff war, when we look at the tariff war, we should not get into negative spiral. There are a lot of opportunities, good opportunities waiting to happen for the Indian businesses. All right. So now let's look at the bad side of the tariff war, which are not many, but nevertheless, let's understand how this tariff war will impact the businesses negatively. First is the import cost. Obviously, the import will be much more expensive. So the whole point is that when you're importing, especially from the US, things will be much more expensive. And therefore, because of the cost of acquiring things will propel positively, and the Atmanirbhar Bharat will actually start kicking in. People who are actually trying to import and they realize that, the cost of import is high, and therefore there will be a huge incentive for people to start setting up new production houses, because production locally will be much cheaper, especially for those goods which are coming from the US, things like mobile phone, things like cars, etc. So there will be a boost in manufacturing. However, the imports will get hit. So if there are certain people who are specifically in import business, they will have to re-strategize their strategy, because the imports will definitely get hit. So that is the negative side of it. If you are an exporter, your business will boom. But if you're an importer, you have to basically start looking at the domestic production. So that is how the tariff war will impact us negatively. What is this? Second point, that is the trade disruption. Obviously, when we are trying to disturb certain already ready-made supply chain, there is going to be trade disruption, because there is a new supply chain that needs to be created, new ways of basically finding manpower, raw material, shipment, and then finding the most efficient ways to ship it to the client in the US. So things like that. So there is going to be a little bit of disruption here and there, but over time those disruptions will be overcome, and gradually, once the supply chain stabilizes, this negative point will not be negative anymore. Although initially, for the first few months, there will be a little bit disruption. Let's move on to the next point, and that is the related to geopolitics of our world today. That is the retaliation. Of course, there are retaliation that is going to happen, as you have seen in the case of both Mexico and in case of Canada. Huge tariffs were imposed on both these nations, and in turn, both these different nations actually retaliated by imposing counter tariffs on American products which they were importing. All right, and in certain cases, especially if you look at the Justin Trudeau's speech, the trade deficit between US and Canada was almost like $250 billion, a very huge amount of products which were imported into Canada. So all those imports, 25% tariff was imposed by the Canadian government. All right. So soon after this, the Trump administration decided to wait and watch, and they said that that new tariff on these two countries are on hold. Right. So retaliation happened. A lot of work is basically happening. Bureaucracy is actually kicking in and working. However, the condition is that both of these countries will start making sure that there are no illegal migrants, and there will be much more stringent checks on the American borders, America and these countries' borders. So in lieu of all that, the tariff war is on hold for some time. All right. So of course, this retaliation will happen. There is going to be a lot of news about this country retaliating the other tariff, and all of this is going to happen based on tariff. Now, tariff, somebody feels that this is something which is very simple, but this is going to create a war kind of situation. Increase in pricing is going to create a war kind of situation. That is why we are calling it tariff war, not trade war, but tariff war. Trade is already going on. We're just increasing the tariffs. So what is the next point? Currency fluctuation. As it is, the currency fluctuation is affecting Indian importers and exporters. Especially right now, the exporters are making a killing because the rupee has weakened, and therefore for exporting, you are getting more number of local currencies, because each dollar that you are actually getting as payment, you are converting the dollar into more rupees. That therefore your income is increasing. However, the flip is happening for the importers because of the increase in fluctuation. Now, because of this tariff, there is going to be much more fluctuation. That means the currency market itself will undergo a lot of pressure, will undergo a lot of changes. So all of this is expected. So that is a negative side for those businesses who are dependent on the currency stability, those businesses will get affected. Businesses like software, etc., they will have to re-strategize their supply chain. They will have to re-strategize their cash flows and salaries, etc., expenditures and stuff like that. There are a lot of other software non-software based importers in India which will actually undergo more pressure on their on their balance sheets. What is the next point? The next point is already covered, that is the increase in exports. So overall there is going to be increase in exports, increase in production, reduction in pricing, tariff retaliation among countries, and cost of import will increase. So this is a summarization of all the tariff war which is going on right now. Just in case if you have any questions, you can send it across. Otherwise, you're more than welcome to engage with me in my next live stream. By the way, there is XYZ. There are a few comments I would like to read before I leave today. XYZ is saying that please start the quiz. Of course, XYZ, the quiz is happening already. In fact, we have a long quiz which is happening every Saturday starting at 11:30. There is cash prize for the winner also. So XYZ, don't forget to join us on Saturday. Every Saturday we bring a long detailed quiz with cash benefits. The winner gets cash. All right, friends. So thanks for watching me live, and I will catch you again in the next one.